everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. We are the Furi Spaces team, and today we're going to be reacting to the Parasite infamous house.
So this is 2 Point Perspective, wherein we talk about any topics regarding design from 2 points, an architect such as myself and a layman, Kelsey.
An
And
ordinary person.
yes.
Yeah, so the reason why we wanted to talk about the Parasite house today is because it's garnered a lot of attention, especially when it first came out. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, right? Yeah, and this movie was super famous because it won an Oscar, and it's a full Korean cast. And
Yes.
I mean, basically, the story is just really good. So, just to give you guys a background of what this movie's about, and there's gonna be some spoilers, no spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah,
So
spoiler
watch it
alert.
first before watching our video.
So
But really,
there's
it's a good film, so you won't regret it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good film. It centers around two families, the Park family, which is the richer family, and the Kim family, which end up working for the Park family. So this is the huge Park mansion, and we're gonna take you guys through it one by one. So let's get started.
Yes.
So my name is Kelsey. Um, this is Steph, and we are 2 Point Perspective. We are part of the Furi Spaces team, and Furi Spaces is basically an interior and architecture design firm.
For me especially, Parasite for me is one of the, I don't know, like I feel like it really tingled all my senses, because for me it's one of the films talaga na architecture was used as a main vehicle to tell the story. I'm not sure what other films I watched that delivered it so well, as in you really might think that a real architect did it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
actually did some research, and it wasn't an architect who designed this
Yeah.
house. It was actually their production designer.
Yeah, Lee Ha-jun.
Yes, and fun fact, this is actually not a real house. It's filmed in different sets. I think it was 3 or 4 different sets, and they basically used CGI to put this all together.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing. And it is too good to be true, to be a real house. Okay, so what are your first impressions of this photo right here as an architect?
Beautiful. Legendary.
Really? Like there are no
I
technical mishaps?
Well, personally, okay, so we are from the Philippines. Alam mo, we should our introduction is like all over the place, but me and Kelsey were from the Philippines, and I guess parang for me, if this was set in the Philippines, I would not recommend flat roofs, because we are a tropical country. We are plagued by, we have a humid environment, and we have rainy seasons, which, alam ko it starts at June, pero honestly, like these days, because of global warming, it comes earlier than June. So it's not really recommended to have a flat roof.
Why is having a flat roof such a bad thing in a tropical country?
So it's not recommended to have flat roofs because as rain pours down, sometimes it gets stuck. Because if it's slanted, the rain will fall directly downwards. Like there's like a downward slope. But with a flat roof, there's a tendency sometimes to pile up. Because with a flat roof, what you will do is there's like you will assign a place where there's the drain. But then again, there's a possibility that the drain might get clogged. The water's gonna be kept in the flat roof for a long time, and the weight sometimes contributes to, not only will your ceilings leak, but also it might collapse. So that's why it's not recommended. But I know that it looks good. It really does look good. And there are solutions to have flat roofs while being in a country that has a lot of rain. But
So
yeah, it's just not the recommended as
with a
much.
flat
Yeah,
roof, would you need to put like a special drainage somewhere?
definitely. So, it's more of like in the
So
middle eh. We can like provide a diagram to explain it better.
so but in the Philippines, I do see some houses with flat roofs. Don't you see them also? Um, uh, do you
Yeah, I
think
do
that it's
naman.
still possible to have a nice house with a flat roof here?
I think yes. Kasi honestly, like I mean, our house, it looks like it has a flat roof. Pero it's just yung slope niya. Nakatago lang siya by this frame. So yeah, that's just like one of my initial comments. Pero there's always solutions to get this look you want naman eh.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right, so let's move on to the next photo. So let's react to this. I think this is a rendering, right? This is not the actual house. What do you think of this corner of the house with a balcony? I mean, assume that's the master's bedroom up there.
Looks good. I really like it.
I noticed on the top, the roofs aren't equal to each other. Like there are different heights. Is that functionally gonna be a problem in the future?
I think yeah.
Why?
Because like versus like yun nga pag-aakyat ng maintenance is just one roof. There's like a whole lot of different levels, you know?
Yeah.
And also one thing to note in the Philippines, yun nga, we're a tropical country, so usually the recommended eaves, like the roof eaves, that one, it's recommended to be 1 meter. 1.2 meters is the ideal, pero 1 meter is the minimum, if I recall correctly. So it's so that the sun won't directly hit, so it's not too hot in the rooms. With the Park family house, they use a lot of glass, so that's good. But it also, invites a lot of heat in. And I feel like if they just widen their roof eaves to a meter or so, that would be a good solution to block the sun. Like you still get the sunlight, but not so much the heat. But then I'm talking about this in the Philippine context. I feel like with Korea, since they have 4 seasons, this is not that big of an issue. It's just, I feel like it will be a hot house if this was in the Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed here was their corner windows, the glass windows that meet at the corner. I
Yeah.
think that's a really cool detail. Especially now that we have projects that we're planning to do this to. They have it up there and the ground level area, and I think it's really nice how it's uniform that way.
Yeah. And I feel like corner windows are such a great add because it really just gives like the whole space. It makes it wider with the
Yeah,
lack
it makes it
of
more open. Yeah.
And I feel like there's this sort of like floating effect it gives in a sense that where there's traditionally a structural column, there is instead glass. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I really like this house. My favorite.
Okay, let's move on to the next photo, which is the floor plan of the house.
Wow.
More specifically, the ground floor going down to the bunker. So I compiled 2 photos here that show how exactly you're gonna get down to the bunker. Is the bunker traditionally famous in the Philippines, or is it widely used?
No. I don't
Why?
think we have bunkers in the Philippines. I don't even think we have basements.
We do, I think.
I
Actually,
mean,
you're
my
right. We
house
don't really have a
doesn't have,
bunker.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why? What's the purpose for
Well,
having bunkers like this and basements in other countries?
I feel like in this story, so I'm not too well versed in Korean history, but I know they had a lot of wars with Japan back in the day. So I feel like bunkers were made just in case another war broke out. But what about you, Kels? Would you want a basement in your house, in your future house?
Honestly, basements are scary. Like, I think basements are infamous for horror movie scenes that have a lot of jump scares. But I think what the Philippines has more is the attic type, like the one on top, which or like right below the roof, which is also what we're doing now for a project of ours. But I've seen more common the attics than the basements, and for good reason. Also, I think I'm not sure if this is accurate, but digging a hole down to make a basement can be costly, right?
Yeah.
So I think having an attic is a really good alternative if you need the extra storage.
Yeah, your parasite might live there instead. Half kidding. Half kidding. Spoiler
Just a
alert.
side story. We have a client, Nikki. She just found out because their house wasn't that well built and their walls are thin. So she found out that there was a hole in the ceiling, and when she looked up in the hole, kind of looked like a vent. When she looked up, it was actually a really huge space, which is gonna be their attic now, right? But she
Yeah.
was always telling me like, "Oh, I'm so scared. What if there's someone there? What if there's someone who broke in our roof and went to the attic and goes to her room because that's where the entrance is." Just a side note.
Yeah. And then she didn't know, diba, that that was the entrance to the attic until we pointed it out. Or did she
Yeah,
know before?
she didn't know. She
Oh,
just thought
damn.
she didn't
So,
know that space could
uh-uh.
fit like people.
Yeah. Sorry,
She
Nikki.
thought it was like the roof, like right after the ceiling. Yeah, so I think it's nice now. In quarantine, people are getting more interested in what their home like. I think since we're home more often, we see like everything around us more, right? So we notice these details, like what Nikki did, and I think it's nice that people are getting a little bit into the interior and the architecture world and getting to know a little bit of what we do in our business.
Agreed.
All right, let's go and move on to the next photo. Um, wait, is this even the house? But it's not.
Yeah, it's the house. There's the living room on super wide. And then the stairs.
Open pala yung roof. Okay.
Yeah, It's just a view of the ground floor plan.
Okay. The garden here is huge, and
Yeah.
judging from the movie, I didn't even see like any neighbor like past the garden area. Do you think that's something that's possible here in the Philippines to do?
To have a large garden.
Yeah, that this big and this much trees and not see a single neighbor.
I think definitely yes in the more affluent areas. If you have a big lot, you can have a big garden, definitely.
How much do you think that a lot like this would cost in Metro Manila? Let's say like, actually I see this house in Alabang.
Yeah.
I see this type of house there and I feel like this house would cost like 200 M-ish. What do you think?
I feel like around that, 100, definitely the minimum is 100 million. Yeah. But that's in Metro Manila. I think you can get big lots like this at the province for like less than 5 million, which is such a big yeah, really,
Really?
promise. Do you want me,
But just the lot,
yeah, just a
not the
lot. Do you want me
house.
to send you listings? Joke lang. Yeah. But I swear, like, especially in our country, like, the prices for real estate in our capital, in Metro Manila, is so high in contrast to the provinces talaga.
It is. Actually, right now, my family's looking for a house because we're kind of tired of staying here in a condo, but it's so hard to find an affordable house here. I saw recently that Philippines was one of the most expensive cities to live in Southeast Asia.
What?
And that's
Really?
really crazy considering
We're a third world country.
we are a third world country and
Yeah.
considering that, our economy is not as good as
Yeah.
Singapore or Japan or Korea. So that's really crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Ooh, delving into the socio-economic status of the Philippines. This is exactly what Parasite was about, though. So, I don't know,
That's
like,
true.
for me, like, that was, for me, the genius aspect of Parasite, wherein he used architecture as a vehicle to really tell the story of coexistence between different socioeconomic factors.
Yeah.
As in, I remember reading an interview from Bong Joon-Ho, like, it was all about capitalism in the end. That's his main inspiration, capitalism. And then that's where this whole story developed. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I also read a lot of reviews following the movie release. They were saying that who really was the bad guy here? Was it the rich people? Was it the poor family for conning the rich family? Was it the people living underground? And in the movie, like if you really think about it, you cannot tell who is really like the antagonist here, because I think in some way everyone is a parasite to another social group.
Yeah.
Deep.
Yeah, that's deep.
All right, let's move on to the living room overlooking the really huge garden, and this is the famous spot where um, the Kim family, when they penetrated the house, and when the Park family went to try to go to camp, this is when they they celebrated and they had a really good dinner, and I think they drank a lot too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the composition of this living room?
So this is my favorite part of the house, the living room. And if you notice, there's no TV there because the architect, well, the fictional architect Namgung Hyuncha. I hope I didn't butcher that pronunciation. What he wanted was for the window wall to act as the TV, to act as the entertainment. And I think that's really nice. You know what? An interesting thing I saw was that this window is actually made with a ratio of 2 is to 35 is to 1, which is the proportions for a widescreen. Because like when they designed this, they designed it with how best would it fit in a movie. You know, they're not really thinking about the people. I mean, they are thinking about the people, but really mainly they're thinking about how best would it fit the movie, how would it be shot well. And I think that's so nice that they thought of the aspect ratio like that. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, that's really, for me, really one of the best parts of the house right here. That window wall, my favorite part of the house.
Yeah, I super agree with you. I think this house would be really amazing for parties. And it showed also in the scene where the kid had his birthday party before things went to shit.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. But I really do love this living room as well. I think it's so sleek. It's also really minimal. You don't see a lot of clutter here as well. And I was watching an interview with the production designer, and he said that the most expensive piece of the whole movie
Was the trash
was
can?
that art piece that you see.
Okay.
No, I saw that also. The trash can was like $3,500.
Yeah, wild.
But the most expensive piece was the artwork, the huge one that you see here in the living room. It's by a real famous artist, and that one I also agree. I like how they didn't put a TV there instead, and I think this one really blends well with the trees in the real trees in the
Yeah.
background too. Yeah, you know, I have to say that in the Philippines, I know that we keep going back, but this is the only
Yeah, this
environment
is
that
our
we know.
context, yeah.
Yes, in our context, but I just can't help but feel like this is gonna be so hot in the summer, and I can feel already like if this was my house and it was summertime, and my feet, like my bare feet, stepped on those tiles, I think my feet would feel like they were burning. Like I couldn't walk through that line there.
Don't worry, Kelsey. I got you. Wait, so for me, like one of the best passive cooling strategies for houses like this. So passive cooling is wherein you don't have to do anything actively. Like it's just a solution that's already there and it makes your house cooler. I think I butchered the meaning, but yeah, so passive cooling strategy. Like
We'll
for
just
me,
put the
what
meaning there.
yeah. For me, what I would change with this house, although it is beautiful and it is perfect for Korea. But if I were to take it into the Philippines, what I would do is a double volume living room. So a double volume is wherein there's a really high ceiling space almost. And the reason for that is because hot air by its nature rises up. So it's not gonna be so hot if it's double volume. If there's like 2 floors worth of ceiling height for the living room. So that's one of the things you can do if you still want super wide a window wall but still maintain that it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think that they also were thinking about the access from the living room to the backyard. And most houses that I know would make like a sliding door or bifold doors,
Yeah.
right? But I think here they made the decision to have just one glass door, single glass door on the left side. And I think it was a really good decision as well because it made the other 3 panels more seamless that way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, bifold doors are nice, but if you think about it, like how often will you open it all the way up, you know? Like, yeah, I think this was like a perfect decision as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From this photo, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the left side here. You see the
Yeah.
access, the stair access.
Yeah,
That's from the
beautiful.
garage when you park your car and you go out and you walk upstairs to the house. And it was the scene where the mom, do you know that? The mom
Yeah.
infamously like gasped. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those lights are also the famous lights that flickered on and off.
With the what system was that? Morse code. Morse code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's really all I want to say
I
from this scene.
I also want to comment. So you see the near the stairs, there's like a window, a strip of window, a ribbon window above and below. And I think that's a really, really, really nice detail because as you ascend from below, you already see a peak of the sunlight peeking out, you know?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, parang for me, like I like those types of designs best wherein there's this sort of like floating thing going on. Like it's floating. That's for me one of the best designs. I think it's also seen in the back of the living room wherein there's sort of like this floating stone type of design. And I feel like those types of design really bring a lot of sophistication to the whole area.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that little ribbon strip there really made a huge difference because I feel like if it wasn't there, that part would be really, really dark. Yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
really nice way to greet whoever's entering from the basement or
Yeah.
from the garage.
And I don't know if it was part of the symbolism, but I remember reading about semi-basement apartments, semi-basement houses. So those are the houses that the Kim family lived in. And the thing about them is that they have windows, but it's just so small, just like that ribbon window. So it's more of a symbolism as if there's like a hope, there's like a sliver of hope, a ribbon of hope that they might get out, but they also might. And I wonder if it was also used in this context as, you know, an ascent, and then there's like this ribbon of hope. Or maybe I'm just reaching.
No, I
don't
think
know.
there are a lot of symbolisms here in the movie that maybe we don't know if they intentionally put it there, but that's definitely a nice way to look at that ribbon, the ribbon strip. So later on the latter half of the video, we'll be reviewing also the Kim's house, which I think no one has done yet, if I'm not mistaken. Like I feel like not a lot of people review the Kim's house as well.
Yeah, but I feel like it's so
So
integral to the story. Like, not just the architecture of the park house, but also the architecture of, like, the Kim's family houses. Like, they all intertwine to... Oh, wait, sorry. This was the one I was talking about. Like, see that big wall behind the Kim family? Like, it seems like it's floating a bit. And for me, like, that's for me, like, the designs, one of the designs I really, really like. And also the fact that there's like this glass in between showing the staircase. I like designs like that where there's like a peak of everything, if that makes sense.
yeah.
But that's like more of a personal preference. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it so hard to believe that there wasn't an architect or maybe there was an interior designer present. I mean, there has to be,
yeah.
right?
Oh, well, I did read an article in Architectural Digest wherein Lee Ha-jun actually has an architect friend who he regularly consulted with.
Oh.
Yeah, and they would actually design the space with his son's Lego. So they would just meet, hey pal, like, and then they would just play with his son's Legos and they're like, oh yeah, that works, definitely. So as you can see, like, from the living room, there's one step, and then that landing is where the front door is. And then to the kitchen area, there's 3 more steps above. So I wanted to point this out because that's also one of the details I loved in this house. The fact that there were so many levels. And while this is not, ideal in some families' houses because, you know, other older people might not like a lot of steps. I feel like it really brought this sort of, sophistication and class. The fact that there's so many levels, so many different depths, dividing one area from another. So, yeah. Another one of
Yeah.
my favorite parts of the house. Yeah.
I agree. Like, I feel like because the floor plan is so open that if they had just had
One level.
yeah, it would feel a little bit like echoey also. And yeah. Moving on to the dining and kitchen area, the window at the back was what we were talking about when we were discussing the exterior of the home. And then now we're moving on to this infamous area, especially this what do you call this? It's like a collection of their porcelain
Yeah.
plates and cups and all of that.
Wait, sorry. Can we go back to the corner window? I suddenly remembered something from the depths of my mind. um, that corner window, I think, correct me if I'm wrong na lang, but I remember that was the first time, um, what was his name? The protagonist guy, the tutor, that was the first time he saw the madam of the house, like from that corner window. And then people were like saying na, oh, he's looking at her and she's in this open garden. So she's free, right? But technically the window frame boxes her up as if she's trapped. So there's another symbolism there wherein she's free to make her choices, but not really, if that makes sense. I remember watching that from some video, but yeah. So I wanted to note that. Okay, we can move on to the next.
Yeah, you know, I don't know why. I'm kind of sure that maybe the directors didn't even think about that, but I think that also makes sense in real life too. You know, she has a really nice view at the back, and she's looking at it, and I still like from the movie. I really did feel like she was a little bit trapped in her
Yeah.
lifestyle. Yeah. All right, moving on to the next part is the kitchen island, which is right in front of the entrance going down to the basement. This was the scene where the wife of the what's his name? The guy from the bunker. Like the wife goes down to meet regularly with her husband.
Gunse. Gunse. Those are the names I wrote down. Like the
Okay.
housekeeper is Moon Kwang and then Gunse. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old housekeeper. Yeah, yeah. She would
Yeah.
go down to the basement and then see look at her husband. So, what do you think of this design here and all of the that collection surrounding the entrance going down?
Okay, so for me, like I just want to comment then that the whole Japaguri cooking sequence when them cleaning up their mess and then trying to clean everything up before the Park family comes back and then the mother trying her quickest to cook a Japaguri, like that was also one of my most favorite filming sequences other than the peach, like the whole peach sequence. And we loved it so much that me and my best friend actually recreated the japaguri, which is like a combination of jajangmyeon and niyoguri. And can I also like, okay, so this isn't architecture anymore, but apparently there was also symbolism in the use of japaguri. So japaguri is a combination of jajangmyeon and niyoguri, which is the equivalent of pancit canton in the Philippines. Like it's basic instant noodles. But then the mother being her, like she couldn't handle her son just eating plain pancit canton. So she wanted the cook to mix like this hanwoo beef, which is sort of like the equivalent of wagyu in Japan, just to, just so that
Elevate
there will
it.
still be a separation. Yeah, to elevate it. Because there's still a separation from her son eating instant noodles. Like, it's just not instant noodles. It's instant noodles with hanwoo beef. So, yeah. Okay, now to the design. I just love this film so much. I'm sorry. I love all the aspects of it. Yeah. So, design-wise, I think this is nice. In our previous episode, in the first episode, we touched upon the kitchen work triangle, and as you can see, the sink is right next to the induction, I think, and at the corner is the ref. So it still forms a triangle. It's still a good workflow. Love it, definitely. Yeah.
You know, I have to say that if I had a collection like that in my house, I would be so scared of earthquakes. I don't even think was this glass? No,
Yeah.
it wasn't even glassed in.
Oh, it's
So, I mean, I would definitely put glass or something or tape them down in case there was an earthquake. All right, let's move on to the basement part. When the housemaid goes down and she opens that cabinet, it leads down to the secret bunker where her husband was secretly staying. What do you think of this basement and how the secret door was incorporated?
I think the secret door was incorporated really nicely. I don't think anyone would think to look behind that big closet cabinet. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. Ideas. No, I'm kidding. I probably wouldn't have the guts to make a secret basement. I'd be too scared. I can't even watch horror films by myself. Okay, what about you? What do you think about this?
I think that
But in fairness, sorry, I know I asked you a question,
go.
pero I mean, in fairness, it's pretty big, ah. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but in the Philippines, like our maids' room are always so tiny. So in fairness, like hers is really big.
Wait, this is her
Yeah,
room?
yeah, that's her room na din.
No, this is a basement. She goes home, diba?
Oh, it's not her room. Does she? Okay.
Ah, actually, I don't know now.
Yeah, we watched it a long time ago.
I've never seen the maid's room actually here. All right, this is a really bad quality photo, but it was a really the only photo I could find of the husband in the bunker. And you know, the first thing I have to say is like he has so many books. Like, where did he get those? And how did he bring those down there?
Probably bit by bit, since his wife
Or
can
maybe
help him
the
out
house,
naman.
yeah, the wife brings down books regularly.
Yeah.
What do you think of a life there in the bunker?
When I watched this film, I was like, definitely I would go crazy by myself in a bunker for years. Especially because, like, spoiler alert again, at the end, the father takes this guy's place in the bunker. And it was like more of a question among me and my friends that, would you do that? Like, would you rather be caught and sent to prison, or would you rather spend your whole life in isolation forever? And I remember saying that I think I'd go to prison. But I don't know, like with quarantine these days, I think I can definitely survive in a bunker with a lot of books and maybe an internet connection, hopefully.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we couldn't even imagine like being alone or staying in a box for so long. But then when quarantine happened, we were like, oh, kaya pala, we can do it. But then the
Yeah.
difference is he had no sunlight though. He had zero sunlight and very minimal social interaction. And it's scary because he was there for years, right? Like he was there for
Yeah.
a long, long time. He hasn't gone out at all.
Yeah, but I think also kasi he interacts with his wife daily, like she feeds him, like gives him the food. So parang I feel like with that interaction, that's more sane rather than the fate the father ended up with, which is who's gonna feed him food? He just has to like every time the new owners come out, like he has to get a lot, stock a lot, and then wait until they leave again. And I think in the story they say that they do actually spend a lot of time in the sunlight. Remember, that's why Dasong, like the younger brother, saw him because he actually regularly goes out at night. So I mean, sure, like I wouldn't know, but I think he's not as confined to the bunker as we think he is. Like, he definitely had a better fate in the bunker than the father. That's my opinion of it. Since he had an insider like the maid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that scene
Okay.
where they danced in the sunlight, like him and the maid? They just danced. And that's when the Kim family saw the opportunity to escape. Wow, that was another nice sequence. Love it. Yeah. What about
So
you?
I think this is. Oh, wait, the bunker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna. I think sunlight is a huge deal, especially if you're a creative person. I don't think I'd. I mean, if I had no choice, I would try. But it's
Yeah.
amazing how he has so much things to do, like read and write and all of that. But then again, like living your life, waiting for
Yeah.
someone to feed you, and
Yeah.
it's not a good life to live.
So if it were you, you would definitely go to prison as well, right?
Yeah.
Given
Yeah,
the
I think
choice.
so. Yeah, because in
Yeah.
prison you get like to do activities and you get to go out and interact with other prisoners. I also just watched a documentary about like self isolation, and people really do go crazy in self isolation, like with just like four walls and like
Yeah.
little like zero social interaction. People really do go crazy, and they will start hallucinating to try to find social comfort.
Yeah. But I think the good thing about this guy is that he wasn't fully isolated with his wife. Sad to say, we can't say the same for the father, you know?
Yeah. So going to the second floor, this is when you're going up the stairs, and then the first thing you see, I think there was a part here where you see like a lot of paintings. I'm not sure if I was
Yeah.
able to put this in the slide, but I can like insert a photo. But there was a part where you're in the second floor and you see a lot of paintings that were done by the kid. Personally, I don't really like the bench there, like interior or furniture wise. I think they could have done a better job
Like a console,
incorporating.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It
And the
doesn't feel like
painting.
yeah, the bench for me doesn't feel like it belongs there. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
I share the same sentiment.
The last room that we're gonna talk about in the Park family
Dasong's
home,
room.
yes, is the little kids' room, which I have to say it's amazing. Like, holy crap! Like, there's so much things there. Like, what do you think about it?
I think it's nice, and he's able to express himself really well. He's a fan of the whole Indian theme, and I think it's a really nice kids room. He's able to express himself well here.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is like it looks cluttered. Like this is not his bedroom, right? Like
Yeah.
he doesn't sleep here. Oh, okay. It's probably his playroom or like where he studies and stuff and gets
Oh,
tutored.
I do think he sleeps there. I think he sleeps in the tent. Because diba, that's his thing right now. He's into Indians. You know how kids are. So I think he
Okay.
sleeps in the tent. And then at one point, he brings it outside, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think this is a really magical kids room. I wish I had a kids room like this when I was younger.
Yeah,
But
same.
it is definitely a rich person's kids room. You can tell because there's a lot of things that you can do here. And I think the kids' furniture is also really well made. Like, because I mean, I'm exploring kids' furniture right now, and I have to say, like, this is really nice.
Yeah,
Like the stools.
I like his movable desk with wheels right next to the easel. I think that's nice. I really like that. Of course, I like his bookshelf as well. I think that's something I would like even as an adult, just pulling around my tools around the room. Yeah.
Okay, I think we are done reviewing the Parks family home. The
Okay.
next segment of this video would be the Kim's family home. So the poor
Okay.
family. I saw this photo. I mean, I saw this drawing of where they really lived. So you start from the right, you go to the left, and on the left side, they live all the way down there. In that, like, you see the few windows at the bottom. So that's where they live, and this is how it looks like. This is a rendering of it. Okay, we're halfway in. All right, so going to the Kim's family home, they are separated from the world by a bunch of what is this like? What are these girls?
Yeah.
This is
And
special type of
these
like
were
thinner
the
girls. Yeah.
Yeah. And these were the windows I was talking about with semi-basement homes. They're not fully underground. There's like a window, a ribbon of window, which I have read symbolizes like hope, but hope that's just out of grasp. Like a mixture of hope and fear that you could fall even lower. I mean, basement's already pretty low, but there's this certain fear as well that you could sink lower. And I feel like that fear was mostly seen in the flood sequence.
Yeah, I have a photo of
So,
that
yeah.
here.
Oh my God, yeah.
Before we go to that,
Like my heart literally broke that scene. Anyway, so yeah, let's see
yeah.
the scene.
Wait, so this one though, this is the I think the entrance to their home. If you can even call it a home. Like, this kind of reminds me of the squatters area here in the Philippines. Like, a lot of their walls and their floors are just concrete or like cement.
Yeah.
And it's not finished at all. It's wet and it's cold and it wasn't done that well. So, I really see this type also in the Philippines. So, this is the set that they had when they were doing what do you call that? Like when they were doing the pizza boxes.
Yeah.
So this is basically their house. Like this one room, I think, house most of their belongings. And for me, I think this actually looks like a studio apartment, like the size.
Yeah.
But for a family of four, with a husband and a wife and kids, it's definitely too tight.
But yeah, I think one of the main contrasts with the Park family and the Kim family, like of course other than the size, is the Park's family house is so minimalist. Like you almost see no clutter at all. While here in the Kim family, like everything's seen, and for me it's like I don't know, for me it's homey, I guess, in the sense that it's filled with space. It's filled with a lot of stuff they love rather than there's this certain appearance to just totally clean, void of any personal effects. Like, that's how I feel, because I feel like the Park family's house, it was definitely well decorated, but I did feel that it lacked a lot of personal effects, you know?
Yeah,
A
I
lot of
agree.
personal decor.
It
It's
felt a little
beautiful,
bit cold.
but is it you? You know, like, does it represent you?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the facade like the Park family wants to show to the world. And oh, so on the subject of cold, like, I wanted to note this, that in the Park family's house, um the production designer actually used a lot of cold elements. Like, even the wood he used was dark wood. There were a lot of stone, a lot of gray tones. I feel like that's in super stark contrast with the outside, where everything is bright, but when you go in, it's all dark. But they use yellow tones. I heard they use tungsten lights to make a warm and sophisticated combination. Like, because with most of our designs currently with Furry Spaces, a lot of our clients are inspired by the Scandinavian minimalist design, and they want it light, they want it minimalist. So
Yeah.
it's usually yeah, we usually use like a lot of light colors and light wood, and it was just interesting for me to see that. Ooh, so in here, like, the concept was when you go in, it's like dark, and I feel like that really created the whole mood for the film. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely like the park house was definitely like beautiful but haunting in a way because
Yeah.
um it felt like not real people lived there. You know, like they weren't warm. I mean, I guess they looked warm, but were they really warm? I don't know.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't know. All right, so let's move on to this scene. I think this was quite a oh my god, this scene really made me feel things, man. Like,
Yeah.
why is the toilet up there and why is it not down there, and it just
Well,
looked so unsanitary.
yeah. Well, kasi Kelsey, they're already in, they're already down the basement. So I think there's only so much you can go down to put like pipes. And that's why the toilet is raised, because they're already down below. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
It's interesting,
So
no?
they all share this toilet. I don't think I saw a shower here.
I think
So
the
I
shower
guess they
is
use
that to the right. Kasi that's a water
oh,
heater
that's
na
a
eh.
shower.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
shower
nga, no.
area. Like the area with more headspace. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my, but definitely this doesn't look so sanitary. I read in an interview somewhere that with the Park family home, they spent so much money on it, but when they were doing the set of this home, it was essentially free. Like they spent like zero money on creating this set.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on to the heartbreaking flood scene. They actually constructed the streets to take gallons and gallons of water. It was so heartbreaking. It was so sad for me.
Yeah.
And I think the saddest part for me was when the dad, which was the driver, the dad went back and he drove Miss Park. And then Miss Park was like, oh, what's that smell? Like she was like smelling something, like she thinks that they smell, but like they actually just came from a flood. And also, Miss Park said after this flood scene, she said, "Wow, thank God that it rained, cause
Yeah.
I think something like would it be the weather is better now, something like
Yeah.
that." And to them, like they just lost everything. So,
Yeah.
oh my God, it just gave me so much chills, and it was so good. Like it was so good the way that they portrayed it. And I really felt it because these things happen here in the Philippines. Like these floods, this squatter area looks very much real. And these really do happen.
I remember like also reading in an article wherein Lee Ha-jun was like, this was the first movie, like, I think that he had to build so much stairs, like stairs in the houses, and then stairs going all the way down from the rich houses, the rich neighborhood, down towards like this neighborhood. And when the rain fell, it was sort of like also a symbolism wherein it's all going down. Like that's the descent of the Kim family. And in the end, like, it falls down, and they're going down, and they have no control over it. And that's so sad. And Also, this is exactly why we don't have basement houses in the Philippines, because imagine if it rained like this. This is just normal rain to us, to be honest. Like the rain that happened, that's so normal in the Philippines. Like imagine basement houses would always be flooded. Right, yeah. So guys, I am the biggest Parasite fan and I have the paraphernalia to prove it. I have this. Ta-da! I will show it to the camera. So this is actually um the storyboards for the Parasite movie, because with Bong Joon-ho, like he's so meticulous with his storyboards that it almost looks like a graphic novel, and that's where they compiled all this here. So yeah. I just wanted to share this. So I think that it's also nice that, because I read a lot of the conceptualization of this house, like what a beautiful design and what was the story behind it. And according to Lee Ha-jun, like Bong Joon-ho just provided him with a simple floor plan. Like, this is what I need to happen, these are the scenes I need to happen, and this is what Lee Ha-jun created with it. So usually, like with architecture, with interior design, design really like dictates, forms people's way of life, like how they move around the house, how they feel within the space. And I feel like with Lee Ha-jun's intention with this design, it sort of like reflects that. But instead of the environment informing the way inhabitants would live in a space, it was more of like it it directed how the characters moved within the space. Like there's like the priority was the blocking and the framing, wherein, because there were a lot of scenes wherein the Kim family would have to spy on the Park family, so that's why he built a lot of walls, a lot of windows, a lot of ribbons in between. I think that's one of the main concepts in this house as well. And when he was asked whether he followed like a particular style, he was like, nah, there really was no style. But a lot of people have said that it seemed like a modernist, minimalist use of style, since it used a lot of wood, a use of concrete, and super, super minimal. Pero the reason behind the minimalism of the design was actually to not distract people from the story, because they wanted the focus to be on the characters. So they needed this house to be simple, minimalist, but still, like, I feel like a lot of people focused on the house still, despite them not wanting people to focus on the house. And I feel like this house is a main character. Alam mo yung, I think it deserves like a place on the credits, the Parasite house. Like, that's how big of an impact it has on the film.
Yeah, when you
For
Google
my-
Parasite,
Yeah.
the next search would be Parasite House. So a lot of people search this house, and a lot of people actually use this too as what they want for their dream house, because it really does seem very grand and very like luxurious, which I think it represented perfectly in this movie.
Before we end, can I share just like two favorite lines I really liked from reviews about Parasite, because
Go
I'm on
ahead.
Letterboxd. So I really liked this sort of review, and I feel like it really illustrates it well. So here, there is a world and it is nice, but not really. There are houses on hills and houses underground. There's plenty of sun, but it isn't for everyone. There are people grateful to be slaves and people unhappy to be served. There are systems that we are born into, and they create these lines that cannot be crossed. And we all dream of something better, but we've been living with these lines for so long that we've convinced ourselves that there really isn't anything to be done. And so that's like a review from Letterboxd that I really feel like resonated with me a lot. I feel like one of the central themes in this movie talaga is hope. Like, hope for a better life. And is it false hope, you know? And yeah. Okay, so this is my favorite article. I think this is a Variety article that came right out after Bong Joon-ho won Best Film. So this was a quote from Bong, like, before its massive sociological term, capitalism is just our lives. And from there, I guess, like, the hope in Bong's movies, according to this interviewer, often springs from this longing to find a little patch of sunlight to call your own, if not only for a moment. And optimism almost makes it crueler. So, I don't know, parang I feel like that was a big theme of the film, rin. Like, it's kind of optimistic, but is it false? Like, with the ending, diba the son, he dreams of buying the house so that his dad can live freely in that house. But I don't think that was a premonition at all. I think that was just a pipe dream, if we can be honest. And
Yeah. I also remember when he was like dreaming about buying it. In my head, I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen
Yeah.
soon, at least. Like, or I think it's gonna take, because usually, I mean, generally speaking, like in the whole world population, unless you're really rich or you're a celebrity or you do something crazy, people buy their dream houses at like 40, 50,
Yeah.
because that's when you can really like, shell out your money and be comfortable with that. And when you're young, when you're 20, 30, buying a house like this is almost near to impossible, especially with the economy today.
Yeah.
Unless you already come from a richer family, or unless you make a startup that's gonna blow up. So I think I agree with you. It really was a pipe dream, and I don't know how his dad is gonna get out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that was the end of our Parasite House review. We really hope that you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and click on the notification bell so you know when our next video is coming out. And don't forget to like this video too.
And don't forget to comment down below if you want us to react to any other houses or make any other video content. We are open to suggestions. And we are also on Spotify and Instagram, so feel free to DM us there as well.
Yes, our Instagram is at Furi Spaces, and we'll be placing all of our contact details in the description box below.
And that's it. Bye.
That's it. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll
See you in the next video. Okay.